USDA reports coming out this morning on acreage and grain stocks. Our guest is John Meuret, Meuret Grain Company. I'll just run through a few numbers here. Corn planted acres is at 97.4. Hold your thought on that. Soybean acres is at 77.7. We'll get to the stocks in a second, but let's start in corn acres. It's not only a big number, it would be the biggest number since 1936. Your overall thoughts on that?
You know, Jeff, I think everybody's going to spend the next 15 or 20 days doubting that number. That's actually a 100,000 acre increase from the March intentions, and obviously way above trade expectations. Everybody this morning was expecting a drop in acres somewhere around 95, 95 and a half, based on wet in Iowa. And I think we need to remember that this survey was done early in June. I certainly think we've lost more acres than that, but I do not discount the fact that we probably planted more acres than intended, but probably not to the tune of 97.7. So.
Illinois lost some acres, Iowa lost some acres compared to 2012 numbers.
Jeff, if you look and they dropped 200,000 acres out of Iowa, I think everybody in Iowa today that they're watching this program is probably going to say there's no possible way that we only lost 200,000. So, that number's questionable. Same thing in South Dakota, Minnesota, and North Dakota. Each one of those was about 200,000 acres as well, each.
What about Texas?
These numbers aren't believable. I think we need to get another survey done, which I'm not sure on the details, Jeff. Maybe you are, but it sounds like they're going to do a resurvey in the next 15 days and try to get a closer snapshot of where we're actually at.
That seems to be the talk right now. Texas has added 550,000 acres. I don't know the landscape down there. I don't know if you do either, but just based off of what we're seeing today, how did the corn markets react initially to these reports?
Well, it's still trading right now, obviously down hard, Jeff. Nobody expected this. You're down 25. Pretty sick. Now, we hit those lows and beans pulled us back up off the lows here. That's the good news. It's keeping us up off the mat. And as far as Texas is concerned, I don't discount it. I really don't. I think had we had an open spring here in the Midwest, warmer temps early, maybe not as much rain, I think we would see an increase over what they showed us today on corn. However, as we talked before, I just don't think you can make those acres work with the kind of spring we had. But in Texas, I believe they probably did add them. Farmer's out there to make the best return he can, and I think he's doing it. He's showing America and showing the world that he can grow corn.
All right, what about soybeans here? Let's move in there. 77.7 million acres, and it's actually the odd thing here is that there are increases from 2012 to 2013 in Illinois and Iowa. Nebraska sees a dock. Missouri goes up, and Minnesota sees a dock. So 77.7 on soybeans. Is that realistic?
Yeah, I think it is. In fact, that really wasn't a miss in the market. I actually thought we'd lose a few more bean acres than what they showed. And even though the net increase was showing about 800,000, what did we get, a 700,000 increase in soybean acres March over June here?
I think it would be about 400,000. It was at 77.3, I believe, and it's 77.1 up to just over 77.7. So it's right around that 700,000 number, yeah.
Yeah, and so, the market was really expecting that. I actually expect that to fall a little short. Same kind of concept goes back to the beans. It's on the corn. Corn struggled early. Looks like the people in Iowa kept planting corn longer than we thought, and I think that's going to cut soybean acres more than we expect. And I think that's why beans today, the number wasn't outside of the guess, and beans are fighting back. So, yeah, I don't have any problems with that. It makes sense to me. As far as the individual states, Nebraska down, Illinois up, I don't know why. Although the cash markets have been extremely firm, perhaps we're seeing people in Illinois say, let's take advantage and plant a crop that can maybe withstand a little more drought. And a bean tends to, maybe hang on a little longer than corn. A lot of these intentions were done, and we were still thinking we're in a drought. And now, obviously, we're in a little different situation. So.
All right, just for perspective, all wheat is at 56.5 million acres. That was on the high end of the guess, and cotton is down 17%. So that took a big hit. Let's move into stocks here, because what could have really fueled the corn market was the stocks number on the low end at 2.76 billion bushels and soybeans at 435 million bushels. Your overall thought on the total stocks in both corn and beans?
I don't have much of a problem with those numbers. I mean, we all know corn's tight. Demand's a hard thing to get your hands around. If you look at corn individually, we know feed demand's down. It's down in hogs, it's down in cattle. Poultry, it's down a little bit. And then there's, virtually no exports. Exports are reported. So we see them very easily, which just leaves the big question of ethanol. And so even though we see this stocks number that is tight today, I think we have to pay attention from this point on onto the ethanol margin, because if that producer at the ethanol plant wants to speed up or slow down his plant, I think that tells you if we can make it to new crop. And so I think that's going to be the driver in the old crop corn is, do these guys stay running and or do they shut it off? And if they shut it off, obviously we're going to have enough corn to get through. If they run hard and gasoline goes to $4, we're going to rally. So this morning, in the same sentence here, old crop corn is hanging in there really well, and new crop corn is down hard. So I think that's reflecting the fact that there's still a little bit of money to be made in old crop ethanol here. So,
what's your advice to the farmer who sees these reports and is trying to figure out where to go next?
Well, clearly, Jeff, he doubts everything that he sees today. He doesn't like the stocks number. He thinks we're running out. He doesn't like the acreage number, and I don't disagree with the acreage number. But I think he needs to recognize what they did in Texas. I think he should stop worrying about the fact that the crop's late, and maybe start thinking about the fact that we do have nearly ideal weather. And even though there's been some nitrogen leaching and excess rain, the people that are drowned out don't like it, but rain makes grain. And so I think he needs to sell rallies. I think if he can get back to 5 1/4, 550 D13 board, you got to sell it. And then you got to take a good hard look at 2014. And if you can make those work and lock in a margin, a positive margin, you got to do it. It's a cyclical business here. And what I don't want him to do is just set frozen in time. And I think that's the mistake that everybody falls in once in a while. So while the government may have surprised you with their numbers, the fact is we probably are still going to have enough corn for new crop forward. So I would be aggressive still. And soybeans, if you want to be a little patient, I'm okay with that. I think they can rally and give you that chance on the corn as well.